Okay, how many people are familiar with blood flow restriction training? Awesome, awesome, that's awesome. Basically blood flow restriction training is, I'll try to do this without making a 20-minute speech. First off, I would say if you want to read any more about it, I would Google blood flow restriction training, and an article on my website will be probably the first one that pops up. And anything from Dr. Jeremy Linneke, and last name is L-O-E-N-N-E-K-E. Jeremy does tons of work on it, and is a really, really smart guy. Essentially, blood flow restriction training is where you're restricting blood flow, so you're not restricting blood flow to a limb, you're restricting the venous return from the limb. Okay, so you're causing a pooling of the blood in that area. This seems to basically trick your body into thinking you're lifting heavy weights without lifting heavy weights. So you can get very similar benefits of heavy training by using 20 to 30% of your 1 rep maximum. It's not better than heavy training, but it's about the same. And so if you're somebody who's going through an injury, or you're going through like kind of a taper or a detraining period, it can be really useful to help you maintain your strength and your muscle mass while you're lifting lighter weights. It's also a good way to get a lot of volume in a short period of time. The next question I always get is that safe? Because it sounds kind of bad that you're restricting blood flow. There's been probably over 10,000 data points on it between all the papers, and so far the only thing that came up that was an issue with safety concern was there was a case study of a hockey player who reported undergoing rhabdomyolysis, which is basically uncontrolled muscle breakdown. It can shut down your kidneys. And he did blood flow restriction training, but he was also playing hockey and being active in a lot of other things. And after he was released, the doctors just told him he could go back to whatever he was doing. And to me, if you had something that they actually believed that caused rhabdomyolysis, they would not tell him to go back and he could continue doing it. So for me, everything I've said is it's just as safe or safer than regular training. Now, the way you set it up is typically you're putting a cuff, some kind of cuff on. For arms, I like to use quick release medical tourniquets. You can, at least in the US, you can find them on Amazon.com for like $5 a piece. And you just tighten them down, and they're very easy to use. And you can do curls or tricep extensions or whatever. For legs, knee wraps across the upper thigh work very well. And you wrap the same spot no matter what. In other words, this is not going to be as funny because Jeremy's not here, but he said, you wrap here and here. Here and here, nowhere else. You don't wrap here, you don't wrap here, you don't wrap here. Here and here, that's it. Because everybody, for calves, they'll try to wrap down here, or they say, Jeremy, what if I'm serious, they say, what if I wrapped here and I could get back? What are you doing? No. You wrap in 2 places. You wrap proximal to the limb, so at the top of the limb. Okay, so here and here, and that would be even for calves. So you wrap at the top. If you wrap down here, it will be the most painful experience of your life. Because I've done it. Because I didn't know what I was doing at first. But there's a few things. From a practical standpoint, you're going to use 20 to 30% of your 1 rep maximum. And your first set should be anywhere from 20 to 30 reps. And then your next 3 sets will be anywhere from 10 to 15 reps. And you'll want to rest about 30 seconds in between each set. Okay? And you keep the cuffs on for that entire duration. And then once you're done, you take them off, okay? And if you want to do another 4-set cluster, you can, but don't keep them on any longer than that. Now, I'm not saying you'll spontaneously combust if you don't take them off immediately, but that's just the protocols we have out there. They've been proven to be pretty safe. So that's what I recommend. And I recommend it mostly for isolation stuff. You can do squats and deadlifts and that sort of thing, but for big lifts like that, even with lightweight, I like people to be able to focus on the lift and not how much discomfort they're in, because in blood flow restriction, how many people have done it? You're pretty bad discomfort by the end, right? It's crazy pump, right? People always say, oh, I had the best pump of this, If you never done blood flow restriction, you don't know what a pump is. You have no idea. You really don't. But it's not a replacement for heavy training, but it's a really nice way to like I said, build volume, be able to maintain muscle without lifting heavy. And there's a couple ways we think it works. We're not totally convinced yet, but cellular swelling, so it causes the muscle cell to swell, which seems to be anabolic. Also metabolic stress, because you're not letting blood come out of that area, it's staying there, so you're having accumulation of lactate and other byproducts of metabolism. That seems to be anabolic. And then one other thing is your muscle cells, when you lift, they actually release their own hormones. It's called autocrine signaling. And if you're keeping blood in that area, it's, for lack of a better term, those hormonal signals are not getting washed out. Okay, they have longer to interact with receptor sites and that sort of thing. So there's a myriad of benefits to blood flow restriction training. Again, it's not better than regular training, but it's a nice supplement to regular training, especially if you've ever dealt with injury or something like that. So I actually like using it because I can get actually another great, if you're traveling and you're in a hotel and you don't, and they only go up to like 30, 15 kilo dumbbells, now you can actually get a workout in, because you can actually, do something decent with that, with those weights. Yeah, so I don't think you're going to completely cut off the benefits if you're including arterially, but I think an easy way to know is, so you'll be in discomfort during the exercise just because, the byproduct accumulation. But if you're in pain before the exercise starts, if you're in pain before it even starts, it's too tight. And then also, if you can't complete like the prescribed reps and sets, if you're supposed to get 30, 15, 15, 15, and you're getting like 26, 11, 10, it's too tight. Or either the weight is too heavy or the wraps are too tight. And then also, if you include arterially too much, you'll just be in so much pain, you'll probably strip the wraps off, to be honest with you, because it'd be so painful. Unless you're a friggin' hardhead like me, and doing calves wrong, including them arterially, and literally doing it to your crying tears of pain, you'll probably take them off. But yeah, so from a practical standpoint, if you're doing like knee wraps for legs, up here with the average size cuff, like a 7 out of 10. If you're using knee wraps on your arms, I would recommend, they're too wide, I'd recommend cutting them in half down the middle and then wrap it like a 6 out of 10. Or if you got the blood flow, the medical tourniquets, those are pretty flimsy, you can go like a 9 out of 10.